Joining me tonight is one of Achieve Radio's own, Monique Chapman. She's going to be here. We are live tonight. We are taking calls. We are doing readings on the air. If you'd like to give us a call and talk to us, we'd be more than happy to speak to you. She is an internationally renowned intuition IQ consultant and personal growth expert recognized in the field of personal empowerment coupled with intuitive skills. She is a leading expert in the human potential movement with 30 years experience inspiring individuals and small businesses to realize their dreams and achieve maximum potential. Her background includes a PhD in metaphysics. She is an ordained minister, a certified hypnotherapist, and a Reiki master teacher. She hosts and produces 2 award-winning radio shows, Raise Your Intuition IQ and Walking with Spirit. And she's been featured on CBS, MTV. She's contributed to Good Morning America and authored her book, Your M&M's, the Men and Money book. So welcome, Monique. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Well, it's going to be an exciting show, I think. So talk to me a little bit and our listeners about how you got started into all this. Where did your journey really kick off?
In my mother's womb. Way back then, all those years ago. Now, I was fortunately born into a spiritual family who practiced many different types of spirituality. And my mother was intuitive, as her mother was. And I believe my great-great-grandmother was also. And as I was a young child, you're playing and you're having fun. And I would just tell kids what was going to happen. And most of them kind of, shrugged it off, my, normal playmates. But when I went to kindergarten, I started telling people, about the colors around them, and they looked at me like I was really weird, and they started shying away. And I started to tell them what was going to happen, and when it came true, that really blew their mind, plus the kindergarten teacher's mind. So a call was placed to my parents, and from then on, I couldn't use intuition in school. But, at that state, my mother was, talking to my grandmother who was living with us at the time, and she said, let's develop what's there. And they didn't call it a gift because they feel that everybody, as I do, I feel that everyone is intuitive. But they said, she's got something a little different than we do, so let's develop it and see where it goes. And so they just started allowing me to pay attention to things going on in life and to become more aware. And that's how I got into all of this. Now, of course, I put it away as I was instructed to for school. But I brought it back out in high school because it was fun to, create little things and, have attention that way. And then in the college, I used it full blown to get me through college. And once I got into the corporate world and I was a sales rep, I used it in sales meetings and presentations so that I'd know which way to steer the conversation, if you will, so I know how to get what I wanted, and that was to close that sale.
So I like how you term this intuition IQ. So does that mean that people have different variations of intuition skills and development? What do you mean by that term specifically?
Intuition IQ is about the same as what we'd call an IQ test or an IQ, our regular IQ. Everyone's intuitive. Some people have developed it and brought it up to a very high standard where they can truly tune in and find out what's going on, not only for themselves, but for others as well. And then some people, it's just been beaten out of them. I truly believe that kindergarten is a pivotal point in whether or not you pay attention to your intuition or not, because the teacher is telling you to be present, which is good. You should be in the present moment, but she's saying don't use your imagination, or if you're using your imagination, no, come back to what's real. So because some people will pay attention and actually follow through with the teacher's orders. You can tell I wasn't one of those kids. Their intuition is stifled. And later on in life, if they choose to, they can bring it out. But all of us have intuition. All of us use intuition on a daily basis. We just don't realize it all the time. So the IQ is how in tune you are to using your intuition.
I like the sound of that. And I think that's so important. And so many people need to understand the importance of bringing their intuition back into the realities of their lives and being able to navigate through it and use it. It can be very practical. And what do you say to women especially who tend to, as they get older and they go through their experiences, shut that down? How do you begin to open that up for women especially?
Well, with women, I tell them to listen to themselves. I mean, we've always heard the sayings, woman's intuition and mother wit and things like that. And those sayings are just acknowledging the fact that we have intuition, and intuition is alive and well. So when a woman has shut down for whatever reason, I ask her just to go within herself and to pay attention to whatever voice comes up. Whether she, puts a judgment on it, whether it's good or bad, just pay attention to that voice. And when you pay attention, take the next step. After the voice has spoken to you, how do you feel? Do you feel relaxed and warm, or are you uptight? Because if you're uptight, that is not necessarily your intuition speaking to you. But if you're warm and relaxed and you're feeling, relatively good and pretty confident about what you've heard in your mind, take that next step and follow it to see where it leads you. A lot of us are, especially women, we're not in tune to who we truly are. We've been programmed by society to take care of everyone else, look outside of ourselves all of the time until we more often than not forget who we truly are. So once we become quiet, and the best way, in my opinion, to become quiet is a little meditation. But once we become quiet, we can start to hear and recognize our own truth, because it's truly our own truth. Now, meditation doesn't have to be sitting with your legs crossed in some very uncomfortable position while you're reciting mantras. A meditation can be a walk. A meditation can be listening to loud music, but not so loud that you're disturbing other people. A meditation could be reading a book, going to a movie. It could be many things. Gardening for me is a fantastic meditation because I become so involved with the gardening and the plants and the soil and even the little critters, like the little bugs, that I forget all of my cares in the world, and I'm just focused right there. And if women in particular, especially right now in this time, if we can find something that grounds us so that we can pay attention to ourselves, boy, it's no limit as to what we can create in our lives.
Do you think we're at a time in history where we're being asked to do this on a very large scale?
Oh, I definitely think so. The goddess energy, I believe, is coming back in to play, and it's going to be prudent for us to pay attention to the goddess energy or the female energy. Male energy has been dominant for a while now, and there's nothing wrong with that. But now the energies coming into Earth, it's more about a balance, okay? More about 50-50, about people truly being companions. And I'm not talking, a love interest. I'm talking about people just communicating and being with other people and walking down the road of life together. We have so many things going on right now. I mean, the oil spill that's just occurred, it's horrendous, and it's going to take a lot of healing to bring that back, the ecology back into place, and I think that the goddess energy and love will have a lot to do with that. Did I answer your question, or?
You did. I lost you for a second there. We were just having some technical stuff.
Okay.
You're so true, and you have so many wonderful things that you offer as a practitioner on your website for people who are just learning about you. You can learn more about Monique on her website, MoniqueChapman.com. There's a link on my radio homepage and also my website. And if you're following me on Facebook, it's on my Facebook page as well. You offer something that I'd like to talk about a little bit tonight, Monique. It's something called spirit release therapy. And I think that this is a really unique venue that you offer, a modality that you offer for your clients. And I was wondering if we could talk about that for a little bit.
Sure, we could talk about that. Spirit release therapy is another name for spirit, what they used to call spirit depossession. What happens is an energy can attach itself to any or all of us at any given time. And when that energy attaches itself to us, it alters us. It alters our aura. It can alter our personalities. It can alter sometimes even our physical appearance. And so when we notice that all of a sudden we're not who we used to be, or things are just not going wrong, or we have some type of ailment that the medical community can't find a cure or medication for it because they'd like to medicate us, or if you go to a holistic healer and the holistic healer can't seem to help you, more than likely you have a spirit attachment. And the host, again, can cause illnesses, it can cause disorders. And it's very important that we are aware of how we ourselves feel without any energy attachment or spirit attachment, so that when something does attach to us, we can notice a difference. Now, the spirit release therapy comes in where let's take someone who is craving alcohol, and they've never, they don't drink. They've never had a drink in their life. They don't really want to drink, but all of a sudden, a pint of gin sounds very good to them, and they ingest that. 9 chances out of 10, they have some type of spirit attachment. And what we do is to go in to release that. There are very many different therapies, if you will, to release it. But what I do is I put someone into deep hypnosis. And once they're in deep hypnosis, I literally talk to the energy or energies that have attached to the person. Now, I say energy or energies because once you have one spirit, discarnate spirit attached to you, many others can piggyback on top of that particular one. Okay, so you could have the spirit that came that had a life, no longer has a life. It was an alcoholic in its life, and now it's attached itself to you, and you find yourself drinking all kinds of things that you never would drink. And then all of a sudden you're finding yourself, well, maybe I'll smoke a little pot, or maybe I'll do a little coke or whatever. And that's because there are other spirit entities that have attached itself to the original attaching entity. So I put someone in hypnosis, very deep hypnosis, and we go in and we talk to those energies, and we find out why they came, when they came, what purpose they're serving, because in their line of thought, they are truly believing that they're serving this person in some way. And then we basically talk them out of the body into going to a better place. And I don't want to give it all completely away, but that's basically what happens. Now, the thing with spirit attachment is you can have a relative that has come back and wanting to be with you. Say you and grandma had a very close relationship and grandma made her transition, and you're missing her so until you literally call her back in, or she's missing you so that she wants to stay with you and help you. And all of a sudden you have grandma's ailments and you're 13. And, things just start going south. So then it's important to let grandma know that grandma still has a life. She just doesn't have a body anymore. And it's important for grandma to continue her learning while you, the human, stay here planted on earth and work through the life lessons that you chose to learn in this particular lifetime. There are many. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's okay. I was just going to ask because on your website you give a really nice description, and you have some really cool pictures on there, by the way, of different spirits showing up in the photographs. And I was just watching this as you were talking. I was looking at these online, and how do you go about when somebody comes to you and says that they have these things going on and they're not sure what's happening and they're very confused and they're getting kind of suggestions and advice from everybody, and they have already been introduced to the thought of this, but they're not really sure they believe it, and they go in, they kind of go through a process, don't you think, where they start thinking they're nuts or something's wrong with them, or because they have all of these really strange manifestations. But when you meet the entity in hypnosis, have you ever been really shocked at what you find, or is it usually the same kind of thing across the board?
No, it's not the same type of thing across the board. And yes, I have been shocked. I actually worked with a man several years ago, and he came to me. He was a pleasant-looking man, nice eye candy to look at while I was working with him. And once we were deep in hypnosis, and I was talking to the energy, and the energy that presented itself to me, I could literally see it, and it was a dark gray. The only thing way I can describe it is blob, and then the blob had like hair on it, almost like an afro, all the way around the circular blob, and it had huge dark circles that I would say would be eyes, and then I didn't see evidence of a nose, and then a very wide mouth with this like Cheshire cat grin on it, and it was just it was an energy that had a physical life at one time, but it was several centuries ago, and it had been with several different people throughout their lifetime. And when those people made their transition, the energy still stayed but kept the characteristics of those people. And so this poor man had like 7 or 8 different energies within this blob, not on top of all of the other entities that had been attached, piggybacking on top of the blob. By the time we got done and we talked to the blob, and the blob was truly remorseful because the blob didn't really understand what it had done. It just wanted to keep living. And by the time that we had finished and sent the blob where it needed to go, and about 90% of the other entities where they needed to go, and I brought the guy out of hypnosis, he looked in the mirror and he said, "Who's that?" And I'm looking at him really strange, and I'm like, "Who's who?" And he goes, "There in the mirror." He goes, "I look so different." And I said, "Well, that's because you're relaxed and you feel good." Well, he went back home and he talked to his family and friends, and he saw family and friends, and everybody remarked that he looked different, he spoke differently, and he had a different attitude on life.
That's really amazing. I've heard similar stories to people who do the same kind of thing, so I'm very intrigued by the whole concept. You also say on your website that negative thoughts take many forms and affect people in many different ways, and you give a sampling of the kinds of negativity that can be also cleared by spirit release therapy. And one of the things here is accidental childhood programming by an authority figure, where they kind of implant the thoughts such as "you're stupid, you'll never learn anything," those kinds of things. Mm-hmm. So how do those grow into these non-physical entities?
Well, once you start believing the fact, and it's very easy to believe. You're 2, you're 3, you're 4, however old you are, and some authority figure says you're nothing, or you're no good, or you never amount to anything. Well, then you have low-level energy around you. You're not bright and sparkly and sunshine. You're doom and gloom and like, woe is me, and I'll never amount to anything in life. So you start believing that. And the more you believe that, the more of that type of energy you attract to you. So then you're wide open to attract to yourself an undesirable energy who also has those very low feelings, or wants to make you feel even lower than what you feel, make you feel as if you're not deserving, as if you're not worthy. So the thought, because everything is just energy, everything that is in existence is energy. And with having those low vibrational thoughts, you attract to you more low vibrations, and you open yourself up for dishonest energy to come to you.
You also give an example of psychic attack by another person, and you say here, and I love the way you word this, that you may not even be aware of the feelings towards you, but another person's anger, jealousy, or other negativity kind of activity toward you may be strong enough to constitute a psychic attack. So are psychic attacks the same thing as kind of entities attaching to us? Is it the same kind of energy?
I think it's a little bit different, because when you have a psychic attack, that's someone who is purposely in human form, so they're in, a spirit living in a human body, and they're purposely sending you some type of negative energy, whether it's for you to not have good health, or for you to lose your finance, or for you to have some interruption of your life path. Where an entity, no longer has a human body, and they're either looking to have a human body or just some human interaction again.
Oh, okay. So how do you suggest people protect them from psychic attacks?
Well, there's a couple of really easy ways to do that. And my favorite way is to eat blueberries. So that's really simple, and it's yummy, and it's healthy. My second favorite way is to drink the Concord Welch's grape juice. And those are two of my favorites because they embody the color of deep purple, which is the color of Saint Germain. And Saint Germain is an ascended master who's the keeper of the violet flame, and his job, if you will, is to transmute negativity, to burn up negativity. So you're actually ingesting his energy, and it's going throughout your body into all your cells, your bloodstream, every place in your body, and putting a layer of protection there so you don't have to think every 5 minutes, oh, do I need to protect myself? Am I not protected? Because some people, they get a bit neurotic with it, and they, want to be protected every 5 seconds. Another way is to protect your aura by just saying out loud, or even to yourself if you can't say it out loud, the color of gold is surrounding me, 24 karat gold. In my teachings, 24 karat gold is neutrality. It's also creation, but it's neutrality. So it would allow the positive energy in, but keep the negative energy out. In extreme cases, you can put white light around yourself instead of like a golden light. But in my teachings, white light keeps out all energy, positive and negative, because it just keeps you encapsulated in a safe space. Not too long ago, I had surgery, and before I went in for surgery, I white lighted myself because I didn't know what was going to happen, so I didn't want any unwanted energies there. But if I should go to visit someone in a hospital, I would just put golden light around myself, and that's going to keep positive energies coming in and negative energies out. Same for cobalt blue or silver also works very well, and even turquoise works very well. And
so colors. People should mainly work with colors then because of the vibration?
I use all kinds of things. I use colors. I use stones. Hematite is very good. Like if you're a party person and you like to go clubbing or drinking or whatever it is that you like to do, wear some hematite, because hematite, first of all, will keep you grounded on earth. And second of all, it keeps the negative spirits out. Same thing with black obsidian. The same thing with smoky quartz. Any of the obsidians, actually, because there's blue obsidian and gray obsidian. And same thing with black tourmaline. Mostly all of the black stones are protection stones. So you can wear it if it's jewelry, like a ring on your left side, or if it's a pendant, around your neck. Or you can have a little stone and put it in your left pocket. Or ladies, if you have an outfit and you don't have a pocket, I usually have a whole bunch of stones in my bra, because they do many different things. Yes, my bra is stoned. Yes, it is.
I can just hear the thoughts now going.
Oh, crazy. You might hear them rumble around if I shake the girls a little bit.
Try doing it at an airport when you go through security, guys. Make sure they're not magnetic.
I have the worst story around that. Oh, my goodness. It's funny you bring that up. You're going through it, and I was actually on a business trip, so I wasn't thinking about, stripping down and, bearing my body to the world. And, of course, I had my stones in my bra because I wasn't thinking that day and didn't take them out. So, of course, I go through and they wand me, and for whatever reasons, the hematite caught the wand's attention. So they, do you have a belt, hairpins, whatever? I'm like, no. And, they're searching me. And so they sent a lady over, and she patted me down. And then, of course, she patted the boobs, and they felt very weird to her. So they made me go into a room. And in the room, I had to strip. It was just 2 women there and myself. I had to strip. And lo and behold, all my stones were in my bra. And they looked at me like, well, what are they for? And I'm trying to explain it. And, of course, one woman was a Church of God in Christ religion person, and so that was so far from her realm of reality until, she just shook her head eventually and just said, yeah, okay, whatever. And, I got dressed, put my stones back in my bra, and took my flight.
That was great. Oh, that was funny. Oh, that is fun. Isn't that great? Yeah, we do crazy things. That's just our life. Welcome to it.
Yeah, it's just who I am. But I was brought up, doing things like that, so I didn't think a second thought about it.
Well, I think I think it's great. I think it's great because it wakes people up. Even just the shock of seeing this woman standing here with a bunch of rocks falling out of her bra. She's being searched. It's enough to really kind of shake things up.
Yes, it is, and it definitely shook those ladies up. They probably still talk about the weird woman in the rocks,
Oh, that's crazy.
But you know what? Worst case scenario, if you're really, something happens and you find yourself in a bad area and you're being accosted by somebody, reach in your bra and throw those rocks. Okay. Extra level of protection.
We could go there if we want to. We could spend the whole show talking about funny stories like this. I think we should do a show on that sometime. You and I, we should do a show where we talk about these hysterical scenarios of being healers and medicine people and walking through these realities. It's really crazy. So besides stones, when somebody's feeling really, affected by these attacks, I think we have to look at the other side too, because your negativity, people's negativity that we may let leak out of our minds and not even really be aware of it at times, if we have a thought about this person or that person, we kind of lose track of the fact that these are really powerful pieces of piercing energy that go out into the ethers and affect reality, that even our own negative thoughts, as small as they may seem to us at the time, could be psychically attacking other people without even our conscious intent to attack, which you also talk about on your website too. What do you say to people when they, do you teach them kind of an accountability or a responsibility when it comes to this stuff too, about being conscious healers and making sure that we're accountable?
Yes, because I think it's important that each and every one of us are accountable for every action that we take, whether it's perceived in the world as negative or positive. I guess it's a take on the golden rule. Teach, if you don't want it done to you, don't do it to anyone else. But when it comes to example was I had a young lady the other day who came in, and she was like 19, 20 in that age range, and she sat down and all of a sudden started with, I hate. And by the time she got finished hating, I was like almost under the table because the energy was so harsh. But, through conversations, we had to talk about hate and really what is that? And, where that energy resonates from. And she realized that her whole adult life, as short as it was, I'm talking like 18 moving forward, that she was living in the energy of hate because she didn't like anything, and she couldn't figure out why she couldn't find a job, why she couldn't get into school, why she had a difficult time getting out of high school, why she couldn't attract a boyfriend, why she and her mother didn't get along. And it was all predicated on all of this hate that she had. And under further discussion, we discovered that she started hating people at 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
Because her dad had told her to hate everybody and trust no one.
So that thought was like a childhood programming that carried on with her throughout her life and affected her reality and her experience, just like that.
Yeah, because of the authority figure in her life who she loved and loved her. Her father wasn't telling her, out of malice to do this. That was just his way of functioning in the world. So he passed it on to his daughter, and it didn't serve her. She was having all types of difficulties because it wasn't part of her, divine plan to hate in this lifetime. It was about forgiveness and love for her. But, she had to hear that from Dad and go through what she did in order to get to the point where she could understand the difference between forgiveness and hate and love and hate. And once she got it, I mean, you could just tell that she brightened up right away. Her posture changed, and she had a different outlook going out the door than she had when she came in the door.
It's really powerful stuff, I think, when people really start to think about the power of what they tell their children and how they act with their children. And when you tell a child, because you're trying to teach them safety, to not trust other people, or to be skeptical, or to stay away from strangers, you have to be really careful how you say that, because that can just shut down a whole compartment of their brain and just not let them, really live completely. So when somebody comes to you, Monique, and they talk to you about having like a really tough childhood, or they had a lot of abuse inflicted and they have a lot of that childhood programming, energetically, where do you begin when you start working with them to break that down?
Okay, well, the first thing I say, and this is going to sound a little bit hard, but the first thing I tell them is to get over it. Okay, because all of us have had, no, seriously, because all of us have had interesting childhoods, and some, better than others. However, once we reach an age of majority, we have choices. And choices that we literally have control over. So after they understand that concept, I ask them to go on a forgiveness trek. And the forgiveness trek is not to confront the person or even talk to the person, but every time they have a negative thought, or what they consider a negative thought about a situation or about a person, just forgive that situation every time it comes up in their mind, or any situation that is not pleasant in their mind. Just forgive it. Forgive the people involved and forgive themselves, and then just move on. Let it go. No matter how many times it keeps coming back, just say, I forgive. And the intention is you're forgiving everyone that's involved, including yourself. And you'll notice that over time, those thoughts lessen and lessen and lessen to where that memory is gone, and you've replaced it with, more current pleasant memories of the day.
Yeah, and then they begin to kind of unweave that pattern that's been woven around them. And it's not them. That's what I always try to explain to people, is that it's not you. You're not living according to your thoughts of the world. You're living according to the perceptions and ideals and ideas of people that raised you. You're not, and it's not about, hating the mom and dad thing and going into the psychology of it, but it kind of is, because you have to take a look at how these thought patterns develop over time and from who, and see how that they have affected. I mean, the reason I wanted to talk about this topic is because it's really important for people to understand this, especially now as we go through all of these really turbulent, challenging times astrologically and energetically and in the world. And, a lot of people are starting to wake up, and what they're realizing is that the world really isn't what they've always thought it to be. So they're having a hard time dealing with this breakdown of reality, of a breakdown of a paradigm that they've just been so comfortable in, whether they've agreed with it or not, or whether they've enjoyed it or not. They still, on some level, have been comfortable, or it would have happened a long time ago. And so what's happening on a personal level is these people are starting, all of us, every single one of us. I mean, I'm feeling it in my life on certain levels. And, thank God the skills are there to understand how to navigate through them energetically, because I really don't know how people are doing it without that knowledge. It's got to be very, very difficult, because it's tough. So, I mean, when you start breaking down paradigms on a collective level, you have to start taking a look at your personal paradigms and seeing how they were built and what part of it is you and what part of it isn't, and start weeding it like a garden to get rid of those thoughts and stuff. And so I think that this is really important for people to understand, that this kind of programming is something that we're subjected to on a lot of levels. It's not just within our family. We're subjected to it in a society, sense too. But a psychic attack, now how do you suggest somebody deal with it when it's being blatantly, intentionally set your way? So when you have somebody who is actually really working very hard psychically to send you this kind of dark energy, how do you deal with that?
Okay, well, first of all, you have to become aware that you are under attack. And then secondly, if you know who it is, great. And if you don't, that's fine too. Awareness is number one. Number two, set the intention. And this might sound a little harsh, folks, but set the intention that whatever is sent to you goes back to its original, owner, if you will, 10 times over. Now, there's candle work you can do if you're into voodoo and all of that. And voodoo is a religion, so it's not really bad. There's candle work that you can do. There's bathing that you can do. A great bath for releasing a psychic attack, because once the psychic attack hits you, it hits your aura. It might not necessarily hit your physical body, but it will hit your aura, and that it will remain trapped until it basically wears you down. So a great bath that you can do for this is a cup of sea salt, a cup of Epsom salt, and a cup of baking soda. And you put a cup each in the bathtub as warm as you can possibly stand it. And then you go get an egg, a raw egg, not a cooked one, a raw egg. You get in the tub, you place the egg in the tub with you. Now, the salts will cleanse you, and the Epsom salt will cleanse any physical pain that you have. The baking soda will make you nice and soft and smooth and silky. And the egg is there to absorb all of the energy that you release into that water.
But you don't crack it, right? You just put the whole egg in.
You just put the whole egg, in the shell. That would be
visualizing this very big mess, like a pancake kind of thing. Like getting out of it and then putting on my bra with all the stones in it and just being a crazy wild woman.
Yoki stones. Not yucky, but yoki. You keep the egg whole, and you want to be careful not to crack the egg in the tub, because, again, it is a mess. I mean, it's not a life-ending disaster if it happens, but it is a mess. Once you are in the tub for 20 minutes, get out of the tub, leaving the egg in the tub. Let the water out of the tub with the egg still in the tub. Once the water is completely down the drain and you are clothed, because this is not good to do if you're nude, take the egg, and you want to take the egg and throw it away off your property. Now, don't take it next door to your neighbors and put your problems in their trash, okay? What I tend to do is find a dumpster like behind a supermarket or a mall or something like that, okay, where it's not going to just run right back and affect someone. So you throw that egg away. If you are near a river or the ocean, throw it in the river or the oceen.
But do it clothed. Make sure you get clothed after your bath.
It's important. Sometimes, you don't want to hear in the 6 o'clock news, woman in Fremont, California is seen, nude holding egg running down the street. I don't know. It just doesn't always fit well.
I was cleansing the spirits, and I was running.
Yeah, wouldn't that go well when PD tries to pick you up?
Okay, we have some calls. We're going to go to the phone lines. We have Gwen from Boston. Hi, Gwen. You have a question for Monique?
Yes. Hi, ladies. How are you?
Good.
Well, my question for Monique is, I've been told by astrologers that I have a very strong personality. And I keep hearing it over and over again, to the point now where I find myself withdrawing from people, because I'm afraid that I may say something that will hurt someone, or my energy is so strong that, it sends people the other way. I don't know what to do about this. Do you have any suggestions?
Mm-hmm. You ready?
Yes.
Be you.
Good.
Okay. Yes, you do have a strong personality. It came across on the telephone, and I love the energy around that strong personality, because you are showing me bright yellow in color. You're showing me a vivid green, and you're also showing me a turquoise, but it's so deep and rich. You are a lady who walks her talks, and you speak your mind, and some people think that you're a bit blunt.
Yes.
So be it. Okay, not everybody's meant to be soft and kind and cuddly. And I mean kind in the sense of, meek. Okay, you're kind and you say what you have to say, and let that go. And the astrologer, whoever told you that, was absolutely right. Yes, you're a strong personality, and keep your personality strong. As long as your intent is not to cause harm or ill to someone, keep your personality strong.
Because I've always seen it as a negative. I've always felt that it was a negative. So it's to the point where people were then taking advantage of me. Mm-hmm. And because of the strong personalities, like, you're just such a bee. Mm-hmm. when I'm not that, again, like you said, I'm speaking my truth, but it's not out of hate or malice.
Right. So those people who think that you're such a bitch, I'm sorry, Hillary, can I say that on your show? I can say it on my show.
I think they passed a law where you can swear all you want now. I'm pretty sure I heard that someplace.
I'm at home now.
We can add that to our naked running down the street throwing the egg in the neighbor's yard with rocks in our bra.
Yeah, hey, great visual. And then I got Gwen chasing me, huh?
The wild bitches.
Yeah, with her strong person.
Then you're calling me a bitch.
Yeah. But in a good way,
In a good way.
Yeah. No, Gwen, when they take it that way, and when people speak up, because I've heard that a lot in my life too. Okay, I've heard, you're blunt, you're this, you're that, you're the other, and it used to bother me. And one day I looked in the mirror and I asked myself who I was, and I received an answer, and that's the answer that I took moving forward. And I decided at that point in time I wasn't going to apologize for whom I was, as long as I didn't maliciously, intentionally hurt somebody, I was okay. I mean, people will call into the radio show and I hurt their feelings because I answered their question. Oh, well, listen, you see my style, you don't like it, don't talk to me. Same thing with you. If people are saying that, you're way too much for them, change your circle of friends.
Absolutely.
Because they're really not your friend if they can't accept you and love you as you are. Now, if you're running around calling people MFs and this and that and the other, that's a different story, especially for no reason. I don't see that around you.
Right.
You're just speaking your truth, speaking from your heart.
And that's why I love listening to you. I love it because I'm like, that's how I am. And it's like, why can't – sometimes I feel like I just want to explode, but in a good way, because that's who I am.
Mm-hmm.
Not malicious. It's not mean. It's not. There's no ill intent. I'm not about that. But I've always felt that I had to silence who I was. I had to be in the corner, be quiet. You're too strong. You're too much. I've been told you're just too much. Who you are when you come into a room, you're just too much.
Now, see, Monique, I would take that as programming. Like somebody along the line told her these things, and she's taken this on, and now she's manifested this kind of complex sort of conflict because it's somebody else has told her that this is what she is, and now she's taken it on. So do you see that as like that spirit thing we were talking about earlier?
It's not exactly like a spirit depossession, but it is programming. And let's face it, we're all programmed. Okay. But, Gwen, what I'd like to give you a gift. And that gift is that I give you permission to be too much. I give you permission to be a strong personality. And I give you permission to be who you are.
I love it. I love it.
Okay.
Oh, that's great. That's great.
I've never given myself permission to be that, because I felt that there was something wrong with me being strong, something wrong with me smart, something wrong with me being beautiful, something wrong with me being sexy. It's like, how dare you? We're going to do whatever we can to destroy that in you. How dare you do this?
Yeah. Well, you know what? They've done it for the last time. If you have decided that you're done with that, and when you hear it again, you just let it roll right off your back, because that's their opinion. Okay? Right. And people are entitled to their opinions. It doesn't mean that that is who you are.
Absolutely.
Okay. So let folks have their opinions, and they can say whatever they want, and then, you know who you are. You know what your heart is.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome so much.
Thanks for calling, Gwen. That was a great question, by the way. Thanks, and I'm sure you've helped a lot of other people listening who deal with the same thing. Monique, why is it that people they have so much trouble expressing anger? Why is anger such a taboo thing? We're worried about swearing on the airwaves, but God forbid we get mad.
You can swear all you want, just don't get mad about it. I think it's...
Why is that?
I think it's a taboo because it's an emotion that is not polite. It's an emotion that is not politically correct in most circles. And, especially for women and little girls, you get the thing when you're a little girl, you can't be mad. Shh, be quiet. just suck it up, take it in, get over it. You're not allowed to have that one particular emotion. And that's why so many people get cancer. And that's why so many people are depressed, because anger and it's just a manifestation inwardly of depression and inwardly of cancer. So we turn it inside, we internalize it, and then we're going to give all that negative energy to all of our body parts. And then they start to break down because they can only hold up for so long. Or we give it to our mind, and our mind just says, okay, I'm checking out. Okay.
Yeah.
And, it no longer allows us to thrive in the way that we are very capable of thriving.
Mm-hmm. Something to think about, I think. I think we could probably do a whole show on that. We have another caller we're going to take, Brenda from Kentucky. Hi, Brenda. Thanks for holding. You have a question for Monique and I?
Yes, I was on my hand has misplaced her ring. I was wondering if you could pick on what some of those rings.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up a little bit. Could you repeat that, please?
My aunt is about 80 years of age, but misplaced some rings, and I was wondering, would you happen to see what she did with the rings?
Okay, so your elderly aunt has misplaced her rings, and you want to know if Monique can pick up on the location. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Sweetheart, that is not the type of work that I do, okay? So, no, I can't help you with that because that is so not my forte. So I'm not going to sit here and try to, sell you a line.
See where they are, yeah.
That's not going to...
Can I ask another question?
Sure, you can ask another question. Yeah, but it's as long as it's topic related to what Monique does. Sure, go ahead.
I have this friend that not affectionate to me, but he would like to move in with me. We were traveling down interstate one day, and too long ago, and a white dove flew across the windshield, and alongside, he was driving the truck, alongside the truck, and it was just flying, started to clap in those wings, trying to pick up. And I was wondering, did that have any significance?
Okay, I think I heard something about a dove in a truck. Is that true?
Yes, the dove was trying to fly along the truck.
Yeah, your connection, you must be on a cell phone or something, but your connection, Brenda, is not very good, so we're only hearing it. It's very choppy coming through on the airwaves. So it sounds like you were talking about an incident where you were driving and there was something white floating or flying next to you. Was it an actual bird, or was it more of a paranormal event?
It was a white dove. It flew for a long period of time. Just as hard, its wings were flapping so hard.
So it was actually a bird flying next to you for a very long period of time?
Yes.
Okay. Any insight into that, Monique?
Okay, well, birds usually, and I'm afraid of birds, like that is my worst fear. Fish is right behind it, but anyway. Brenda, you're giving me like missing rings and birds. Okay. Birds generally, spirit will come and talk to you through the form of a bird generally, and a dove being, white, pure, love. I think that there was someone who had crossed over to the other side who was letting you know that things were, good and okay. And for the bird to keep up with a traveling car, that, in itself is a feat. So it was making sure that someone got the message. Now, it also depends on who you were with. I think you said it was a male friend. Is that true, Brenda?
Yes, it's a male friend who's not very affectionate to me, but he also would like to be with me.
Okay, he's not affectionate, but he wants to do what with you?
Move in. He would like to move in and live with me.
He wants to
as
live
a
with her.
roommate or as a mate?
Yes.
Well,
no,
yes,
which one? Roommate or mate?
I'm not hearing you either. I have a connection. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Is it more of as a roommate, Brenda, or is it as a partner?
As a partner, I seem to think that we are boyfriend girlfriend, but yet he's not affectionate.
Well, the first thing that comes through me, Monique, is no way.
Yeah,
Because that's the first thing that came through for
Brenda,
me.
Brenda, get out, and I don't know how old you are, sweetheart, but get out and run as fast as your legs will carry you the other way. Lock your doors, nail your windows shut. Don't let this man in your house. Okay, he has no appreciation for you, and why would you? And I don't know your age, but sometimes as we get older, we feel a little lonely. We want company, which I can thoroughly understand. But the price of someone using and abusing you is not worth having company over. Okay, so the dove had nothing to do. I think, now that you're giving me clear information, I think the dove was really telling you that, for you to love yourself, and you already know that this man is incapable of being even nice most of the time. So the dove was telling you the answer to your question, which is run the other way. It would be really for your highest good to not even have this man in your life. Now, I understand, companionship, but it's going to be important for you to put boundaries around that. It would be a mistake if you allowed that to happen.
Yes. Thank you so much. I totally agree. I was lonely. He came along when I was lonely.
Yeah,
okay,
and we compensate for that. We compensate by allowing ourselves to settle for what I call a half life versus no life, because some attention is better than no attention in our minds. We kind of think that, well, he may not be very affectionate, but he's a warm body. Well, let me tell you something. After a while, that warm body theory goes out the window too. So just let it go. Thanks for calling, Brenda. If you want to listen back to the archive of the show, you can hear a better explanation of what we were talking in case the lines weren't so clear on your end either. But you know what, Monique, that's what I notice a lot about people, especially women. They get into these relationships where it's like, oh, he's looking in my direction, and so it's love, and I'm going to let him do whatever he wants because he's giving me breadcrumbs of attention, breadcrumbs of, some kind of whatever they didn't get in their other relationship or growing up. Why do we settle? What is it about this that makes people settle?
Because everybody's, has the need for love, and they've heard these wonderful love stories, and especially for women, we've got Cinderella and Snow White, and then, we've got all these fables that say that we should be in relationship no matter what, and that Prince Charming is going to come right over the hill on the white horse and scoop us up and take us into, this wonderful place. And when we allow that to happen without vetting out the person and really getting to know them, we find ourselves in hell very quickly. And since we're so attached to the idea of having someone in our life because we're not sufficient within ourselves, it's difficult for us to give it up, because we don't want to go back to that quote-unquote alone feeling. But, if you spell the word alone, A-L-O-N-E, and you add another L, it's all one. So truly you're not alone. You're part of, the complete universe. But we have, as a society, and I'm talking world society because I work with all types of races and nationalities, the women are programmed into, you got to have that man. You got to worship that man. And no, you don't. If you find someone who is your equal and you move forward together in life, that's great. Now, I'm not saying that a relationship is, all, butterflies and sunshine, because a true relationship is work, and it can change, on the drop of the dime. But it's both people willing to work at it overall. There might be a period of time where they're willing to work and you're not, or you're willing to work at it and they're not. But overall, if there is both parties working at it, then that is something beautiful. And it's not, one person completely in lockstep with the other.
Yes.
They're allowing their personality out.
I think that's great advice, and what a way to end the show. I think a lot of my listeners have a date with a box of baking soda and an egg.
Don't forget the rocks.
I want to thank you for your lovely insight and your wisdom and your humor and bringing that and sharing that with me this hour and my listeners. MoniqueChapman.com, guys. If you want to hear about all the great things she does, you can also catch her show right here on Achieve Radio. I'm Hillary Raimo. Thanks for joining me. Namaste, everyone. Good night.